Hello everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm Jessie Lee, coming at you with video number 3. If I seem a bit off in this video, it's simply because I'm just not in the best mood. I am trying to recover from a shit show of a week. I apologize for swearing, but that's what it was. It was my kids' spring break, and it just didn't go the way I wished it to. We didn't end up doing any of the fun things as a family that we had planned to do, and my kids were just acting bonkers the entire week, and my husband was just in a really cranky mood, and he wasn't fun to be around, and it wasn't fun. I wish I had a do-over, but I don't, so I guess I'm just relieved that my kids are going back to school next week, and we can kind of get back into some sort of rhythm. But I do think that sitting down and making a video and talking about this hobby that I love will cheer me up. Another thing that did really cheer me up this week and help me keep going was that I received some stitchy kindness. This lovely lady named Susan reached out to me on Instagram. She had seen my first Flosstube video where I had said that I'm really interested in vintage patterns and collecting old patterns from magazines. She sent me a sweet message on Instagram asking if she could send me a bit of her collection of vintage cross-stitch magazines. And I was like, absolutely, that's so awesome. I was just astounded by her generosity. And sure enough, this great big stack of magazines showed up in the mail a couple days ago. And along with these magazines, she sent me just sweet little goodies, a really pretty card with a nice message inside, a little bit of DMC 310, can always use that, some magical travel scissors, and this adorable needle minder. Look, it's yellow, which is actually my favorite color. I have a yellow kitchen, and it has a little crown on it, and it says, "She who wears the crown rules the hive," which is cute. It's talking about a queen bee, but the queen bee in the house is not me, it's my cat Calypso, so she thanks you for acknowledging her with a needle minder, Susan. I am really just so excited about all these magazines. I've already been poring over them, and so you can see here I got a big little stack of flags that I put in for things that I want to stitch as soon as possible. And some of these date from way back. The earliest one I have is from 1986, the year I was born. I have this portion of them are cross stitch and country crafts from 1986 to 1990. And then that magazine was renamed Better Homes and Gardens, Cross Stitch and Needlework. And this issue here was from 1996. And then I also have a couple little country stitch magazines. And these were from 1991 and 1992. But the most special magazine to me is this Cross Quick magazine. This issue is from 1988. And the reason I love it so much is because inside it, I found this. It's a silly little thing, but this Bookworm Bookmark is something that I own because my grandma stitched it. I don't think she stitched it for me specifically because I was only 2 in 1988, but she made this, and it was around the house when I was growing up, and I came to possess it, and I do have it packed away somewhere, and when I happened to find it, it just meant a lot to me. It just gave me so many memories. And also, funny enough, the companion bookmark pattern is a cat. I just think it's so sweet. And it made me smile. And it made me cry, too. And my husband thought I was nuts. He didn't know what was going on. He was like, "Why are you crying? What did that lady send you?" So thank you so much, Susan from California, for sharing these magazines with me. I already treasure them, and I will definitely stitch from them, and your kindness just really means a lot. These are just really a treasure, and I'm just so excited to own them. And I'm just a new Flosstuber, and for you to already be reaching out to me just means a lot and makes me just feel so welcome in this space, and I'm just so excited. And also, Susan, I hope you don't mind if I spread your generosity a little bit further, because you sent me 2 duplicate issues of some magazines. And I thought it would be nice if I could give these away to one of my YouTube subscribers. These are 2 issues of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts from 1988. And they're perfect for somebody to get at this time of year because they are from March and April and May and June. And here I will show you a few of the patterns from these magazines that I thought were especially pretty and would be fun to stitch. Here's a really pretty sampler. Here's another little, this one is a really beautiful garden gate. Such sweet, springy patterns. Here down here is a little bunny with an Easter egg. And there are way more patterns in here than what I'm going to show you. I just thought these were especially cute and would be fun to look at. Here's one that could be given as a gift to a cross stitcher, either a mother or grandmother. And of course, I love the one that's a kitty cat sitting in a window. I love just this older style of these. They make me feel so nostalgic. And this one also has some very sweet little ornaments that you can work on too. I especially love this little angel with holding the candles with little gingham sleeves. That's just adorable. That was the March, April one. And then in the May, June one, have these little memo holders. Another kitty cat. And there's this cute little sampler. Little sheepies on it. My voice cracked. I gotta quit being so weepy so I sound normal. Here is a little garden bench, and it is actually companion piece to that garden gate from the previous magazine. And this one's very cute. It says, cross stitchers make every minute count. Right there. And there's another one about a dad keeping time. Those are cute. We got, this one's really adorable. You can use it for just about anything. You got a little series of strawberry motifs. Very pretty. And then I saved the cutest to show you for last. Look at this Santa. I think he's pretty unique. Can my camera focus? There you go. He's little Santa. Look at his little hat. And he's got a little heart, a curly beard, and he's like holding a little star magic wand, which I think is pretty unique. I love his border. He's got a little matching reindeer. Just the style of those two is so different and just so adorable. I love them. Anyway, if any of you wonderful subscribers of mine are interested in winning the giveaway of these 2 vintage cross-stitch magazines, please comment down below, and in your comment include the code word memories. And in about 2 weeks, I will randomly choose a winner and announce who won in my next video. In addition to Susan's Stitchy kindness, I also acquired a little bit of haul. The first thing I got is a wire grid rack that hangs on my wall so I can hang up my whips and floss rings. I had already been storing my cross-stitch stuff by hanging it because I have on my desk a little hutch shelf thing that is made out of like this scrolled wire. So it has lots of little spaces on it where I could just stick an S-hook. But I was looking at AliExpress and I happened to find this wall rack, and it was only like 12 bucks, and it's pink and shaped like a heart, and it's pretty big too. It's almost 2 feet wide. So I had to buy it. And it finally got here from China a couple days ago, and I hung it up and it works just perfectly. It's even magnetic so my needle minders can stick to it. Oh, here's Casper. Casper, can you get down? Let me introduce Casper, you guys. You haven't seen him yet. He's my boy kitty, and he's real chonky. Anyway, I got this wall rack. It holds all my stuff. It's magnetic. It's cute looking, and having all of my stuff over on that space on the wall instead of all over my hutch just makes all of my desk space look a lot less cluttered and more organized, which is great because I'm a neat freak, but my kids and husband are not. So they wreck the whole rest of the house, and I have this room to come to where everything is nice and pristine looking and I can just breathe. So yeah, the rack makes me really happy, and it's hung on the wall right next to my fish bowl. So my bed of fish bazooka has some pretty things to look at now too. The other piece of haul I got is a new cross-stitch pattern. You guys, I think I can't call myself a monogamous stitcher anymore because I fully intend to cheat on my spring cat sampler. The spring cat sampler has a black and white pattern and 41 different floss colors. So I've been finding it takes a lot of concentration to follow the pattern and to do the stitching. So it's not the most relaxing. And I found myself itching for a project that's a little more mindless, something I could perhaps do with just one color of floss. So I went searching and found this. This is Quaker Peace by Remembering Bygone Stitches. And I do apologize for having to show it to you on my tablet instead of printing it out, but my daughter is a prolific artist and she has used up every single scrap of paper we had in this house. So here is what I have to show. Hopefully the glare isn't too annoying. So Quaker Samplers are not my usual style at all, but I found this one to be so cute and playful. There are just sweet little motifs all in there. I love the little dove. There's hearts and peace signs, and I love, love, love this little row down here of people holding hands because it reminds me of this fabric print that I sewed all of my kids' face masks out of. Isn't that cute? I bought this paper doll print in a bunch of different colors and sewed all my kids' face masks out of it, so that's what they've been wearing everywhere. Anyway, I really like this Quaker Peace sampler, and the pattern does call for 2 colors, so when you look at it from a distance, you end up seeing a peace sign across the entire work, which I think is pretty cool. So I might kit it up with 2 flosses or maybe just 1. Either way, I am going to look for some really pretty variegated thread in the lively sort of colors that I enjoy, and it'll be a fun one for me to work on. Next, I have 2 FFOs to show you. One is a cross stitch and the other is a craft. So here's the cross stitch. Dun, 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 dun. I got my 2020 temperature tree into a hoop. This is just a typical wooden hoop, but I stained it a dark brown. And what I used to stain it was a mixture of burnt umber acrylic paint thinned out with some water. It worked great. And here's the back. I just covered the back up with this green fabric, which is just one of those pre-cut fat quarters that you can buy at Joann's. So yeah, this is my temperature tree. This one's pretty special to me. It is a pattern by Sara the Stitchin Mommy, who was the first Flosstube that I ever discovered. And I started this project in January of 2020. It was the first project that got me back into cross-stitching. And here I am, sometime later, deep into it and doing Flosstube. Guys, I have to interrupt this program and show you my cats. There's Sabrina right there, like usual, but behind me, look, there's Casper. He's being so cute, showing his little white belly. Anyway, the little craft I got done also has to do with the year 2020. In my last video, I talked about how I have a little tradition of taking a slice from the trunk of my family's Christmas tree every Christmas. We have real trees. We haven't used a plastic tree since 2010. So anyway, I slice off a little bit of the trunk of our tree, and then for a couple months after Christmas, I let it get nice and dried out, and then I do a little painting on it to commemorate the year. So this is the painting I did for the year 2020. It's this cute little angel. And with all of them, I turn them into an ornament, and that's what the back looks like. I just take my glue gun and glue down this little string and put a little star rhinestone over it to cover up the string knot. So I'm not an artist or anything. I just do very simple little drawings on tracing paper, and then I do a little rubbing of that drawing onto the little tree stump, and then I paint over the rubbing. And it's always something very simple. Like I said, I'm not a great artist. I wish I had more drawing skills than I do. So as I promised last week, I'd like to show you the little collection of these I've developed. The first one I did was in 2011, and my husband's and my wedding anniversary is in October. So that Christmas after our first anniversary was the first time we tried out having a real Christmas tree, and I loved it. And I decided I wanted to have a real tree for every year. And at that time, I also came up with the idea to do these little tree trunk paintings. And I'm really glad that I had that idea at the time. Pat my past self on the back for that one, because these have been really special. So this is from 2011. It says our first house anniversary real Christmas tree. And I did some little snowflakes, and these were the two cats that we had at the time. This little kitty face is for Calypso, who is still with us. And this little kitty face here is for my kitty Casper. And this was his last Christmas with us, unfortunately. He died when he was only 4 years old from very aggressive cancer. And it broke my heart because he was the most special kitty. He was the most affectionate, loving, sweet, and soft. He had the softest fur. He was just a very special kitty. Anyway, after that year, the next year, 2012, I painted a manatee. And as you can see, we bought a little mini tree that year because over Christmas time, we went away on a cruise. My husband's stepdad's mother was very, very kind and invited the entire family on a cruise. And we went to Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel, Mexico. And one of the excursions in Cozumel, we got the opportunity to pet a manatee. And I love manatees. They are one of my favorite animals, and that was just a highlight of my entire life. So I commemorated that experience on the tree stump for that year. Then in 2013, that was a pretty significant year because my husband graduated from nursing school, and I also was pregnant with our first child. So to commemorate that, I have a little snow couple, and this one represents my husband. It's got a little graduation cap. And then this one represents pregnant me because she's holding a little snowball. All right, 2014 was our son Glenn's first Christmas. So I made this little gingerbread boy. I wish my camera would focus. Little gingerbread boy to represent our little son. His birthday is in January, so he was almost a year old. And also, I happened to be pregnant at the time already with our daughter. So I was already planning ahead for what her first Christmas ornament would be. So for her, the next year, in 2015, I made a little gingerbread girl. Now, my son was a little bit older during his first Christmas. His birthday was in January, so he was almost a year old. So the gingerbread boy is wearing like a little onesie. And my daughter Sylvia was only 6 months old at her first Christmas because her birthday's in June. That would be about 6 months old, right? Right. So she was a younger baby, so I drew the little gingerbread girl in a diaper and a bib. So I thought those two were cute together. Next, in 2016, Glenn and Sylvia were both diagnosed with autism that year. Glenn was speech delayed until he was about 3 years old. He received his diagnosis a little while after he turned 2 in 2016. And then my daughter, right after she turned 1, she had quite a regression in her development. And since Glenn had recently been diagnosed, we kind of recognized the symptoms in Sylvia and knew what was up. So we got her checked out and she received a diagnosis too. So my tree stump painting was to represent us learning and embracing that information. And this is what I chose to do. The symbol that's used to represent neurodiversity is a rainbow infinity symbol. So I represented that by making a little infinity out of Christmas lights. I think that one's pretty cute. And again, this is another small tree. We lived in a smaller house, so I kind of liked having little baby Christmas trees. And at the time, my kids were really little, so it was just kind of easier to have a baby tree to put up on a shelf that they couldn't get to. And it also made painting these a bit easier too. 2017 was a year that we did a bit of traveling, so I did a little Santa piloting an airplane. In the early fall of that year, we took a road trip from our hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, up to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area to do a bit of exploring because we were thinking it may be a place that we might like to move to. And guess what? And then also that December, we took a plane ride down to Florida to spend Christmas with my in-laws. And Christmas was lovely, but riding on a plane with 2 toddlers wasn't the greatest. So anyway, I commemorated our 2 wonderful trips on the tree stump. Then in 2018, we made a big move up to Eagan, Minnesota. That's where we started out, living in an apartment, and then we bought our house here in Maplewood about a year later. Anyway, in 2018, our move happened, and it was very much on God's timing and not our timing. We had planned to stay in Omaha because we had found a really wonderful therapy program to serve Glenn and Sylvia's special needs and help them with their development at their young age. And we had planned on staying until they aged out of that program. Unfortunately, at the beginning of 2018, our insurance was changed and it would no longer cover them going to that program. It was really stressful and tragic and alarming to us. We were really upset. So we scrambled to sell our cute little 2-bedroom house and move up here as quickly as possible so we could get new resources because there really wasn't much in Omaha for our kids at that time anyway. So we moved and it all worked out. And we moved into a nice comfy apartment that had a balcony overlooking a really pretty courtyard. And in that courtyard lived a flock of wild turkeys. I loved them so much. They entertained us so much. We loved seeing them, and turkeys stick around through the winter. So we got to see them every day, and turkeys just have wonderful symbolism to them. They're a symbolism of gratitude and bounty and home. So it was just really meaningful to me that we had those turkeys. And plus, like I said, they were really entertaining to watch and we just loved them. So I commemorated 2018 with a little turkey with some cute rainbow feathers on it. And in 2019, we moved into our house here in Maplewood. Okay, it's funny. In Omaha, most of the homes out there are ranches from like the 1970s, and they all sort of look the same. And there's also quite a bit of new development, so you see a lot of cookie cutter houses from the 1990s and a lot of McMansions too. So not to knock Omaha, but a lot of the residential architecture just isn't that interesting. But up here, there's tons of charming historical homes. There are bungalows and Cape Cods and colonials and I've even seen salt box houses, and I've found a lustron house before. If you don't know what a lustron house is, please go Google it, because there are really interesting, very specific relics from the 1950s. So was really cool to find one up here. So when we were house hunting, I was hoping we might find one of those cute, charming historical homes for us, but we ended up with this place, and I do love it. However, on the outside, it is just a square house with a pitched roof. And I affectionately call our house our milk carton, because that's really what it looks like. A little mini milk carton that you would get served at school lunch. So I commemorated buying our house this way on the tree stump. It's a house, milk carton with a straw coming out. And then, of course, 2020 came, and the pandemic spread across the world, and George Floyd was murdered in our local area, and that caused upheaval across our entire country. It was just quite a year, and we really needed our angels around us. All of us across the world did. So that's why I painted this angel for 2020. And yeah, so that was the intention behind me painting the angel. And those were all of the little tree stump paintings that I've done through the years. So I hope you enjoyed me showing those to you. Okay, back to talking about cross-stitching. Let me give you a progress report on my whips. The first I have to show is my temperature garden. This is what the pattern looks like. This is the temperature garden designed by Sara Hughs, the Stitchin Mommy. And, cat hair. Here's how mine is looking. I am stitching this 1/1 on 28 count white even weave. And I love how it is looking. I chose all of my own colors, and I think they're looking really pretty. As you can see, we're moving out of the blues and purples into pinks and oranges because it's getting warmer. Although around here, you really can't trust spring until nearly the end of April, but we're getting there. And then next, of course, I have my Spring Cat Sampler by... More cat hair. Oh my goodness gracious. Can't do nothing. Anyway, Spring Cat Sampler by Nancy Rossi from Cooler Design Studio. It looks like this with that irresistible kitty cat. And here's how mine is looking. This one is also on 28 count even weave, and I'm stitching it 2/2. Last time I showed it, I only had the bunny and the viola done. So as you can see, I knocked out a few more of those really cute motifs. And I'm excited about how this one is looking. It is really pretty and really adorable. And it's a fun piece to stitch. Not mindless and relaxing, but still fun. I'm having a great time with both of my whips. And I'm excited to keep working on them. Last on my agenda for this video, but not least, is to shout out a couple more Flosstubers I've been getting to know recently. And the first one is Sara from Sara's Stitches. And Sara spells her name with no H, okay, you guys? I really enjoy Sara because I feel like I have a few things in common with her as far as cross-stitching. She started her Flosstube around Valentine's Day, just like I did. And she also got into stitching a year ago in 2020, just like I did too. She got into cross-stitch when she became a full-time stay-at-home daughter to her mom. Her mom has dementia, so she quit her job to take care of her mother, and she took up cross-stitching to sort of fill the void a little bit. And in addition to caring for her mother, she has 4 doggies and a husband and 2 grown children. I really like Sara's cross-stitch because she uses really pretty pastel colors. And those are the types of colors that I love the most. Most of the patterns she chooses to stitch are traditional country cute. She has stitched up things from Country Cottage Needleworks and the Prairie Schooler and Little House Needleworks. And another thing that I love about her stitching is the fabric she uses. She dyes quite a bit of her own fabric. I'm really impressed with the fabric that she's dyed because I have not been brave enough to try that out yet at all. Sara also really enjoys reading, and towards the end of each of her videos, she has been sharing what she's been reading lately and makes book recommendations, which I think is super cool. Another Flosstuber I've really been enjoying getting to know is Stephanie, the IvyHouseCrafter. Stephanie has been on Flosstube for 3 years, but I only just discovered her because she came and subscribed to me. So I saw her name and went and subscribed to her. And I'm so glad I did because she just has the most peaceful, serene, sweet energy about her. I just enjoy listening to her talk. I'm amazed that she is as calm as she is because she is a mama to 5 kiddos. Oh my goodness. A couple of her kids have made appearances in her videos and they just seem very sweet and very cute. I enjoy seeing them. And another thing I enjoy about her channel is her stitching style. It's very different from mine. All of the patterns and colors she chooses are very traditional and sophisticated, and she likes more muted colors. And I really enjoy following stitchers who have different preferences than me. It's always really cool to see different creative people's point of view. And perhaps unsurprisingly, calm, serene Stephanie is a Bob Ross fan, which I think is great because I adore Bob Ross. Stephanie shares in her videos her own painting. She does oil paintings in the Bob Ross style. She paints really beautiful landscapes, and she kind of inspires me to want to try painting too. I tend to really be attracted to Flosstubers like Stephanie and Sara, who share their hobbies besides cross-stitching. I just find it really inspiring, and I enjoy the variety too. The final Flosstuber I'd like to shout out today is Molly West, the Sensible Stitcher. In my first video, when I introduced myself and talked about my family, she left me a nice, meaningful comment saying that she relates to my experience as a parent of kids with special needs because her own adult son has Down syndrome and her teenage daughter has autism, and she's also got her youngest daughter who is neurotypical. I am so happy to be following Molly on Flosstube because she has such eclectic, interesting taste. None of her projects are boring. It's really, really fun to keep up with what she's doing. One particularly special whip that Molly is stitching is the Nordic Heart by Modern Folk Embroidery, and she is stitching it in honor of Vivian Thomas. Now, Vivian Thomas was a Black man with a high school education, and he was also a genius. In the 1940s, he was working as a lab technician for a cardiologist, and Mr. Thomas invented the procedure that cures the heart defect that causes blue baby syndrome. Now, decades later, Molly's own son was born with that heart defect and survived because of Vivian Thomas's invention. I think that's absolutely incredible, and I am so grateful that Molly informed me of who Vivian Thomas was. She also informed me that there is a movie about his life that we can all watch right here for free on YouTube. It is called Something the Lord Made. I went and watched it and was extremely moved by it. So I totally recommend everybody go look up Something the Lord Made and watch it and learn about Vivian Thomas. And of course, you need to go watch Molly, the Sensible Stitcher, here on Flosstube and subscribe to her too. I believe that is all I had to say in this video today. So before I go, I'd like to share the motto of my grandma, who inspired me both in stitching and in life. God loves you, and I love you. Happy stitching. Bye-bye.